Hello, everybody. Hello. Hopefully, everybody can hear me and everything is coming through good. It's lovely to be streaming today at the end of a really heckin' long week. It's been Global Accessibility Awareness Day this week, which in the accessibility industry is quite a big thing. And for me, it so far lasted an entire week with things to do. And there are even more things coming through for me soon. So, crikey, yes, it has been a hell of a week. I am just fixing a little bug at my end where I clicked the wrong button. So hopefully that should now work. Woo. Okay. So today on stream, it's City Skylines. I wanted a much more chill stream this week because I have not got the spoons or brain cells or, well, the fingers and toes for running around being a Jedi this week and zapping things and hitting things with lightsabers and timing and stuff like that. So I was looking for a chill stream, and it was either go drive around in SnowRunner for a bit or go play some City Skylines. So did a little poll, and City Skylines won to go start a new build, and we're going to build a zoo. So that's the plan for today. I'm going to give you a quick tour of my city, and then we're going to go and start building a zoo for Lion and his friends. Now, very clearly, it will be Lion's zoo for his friends, and it might also become his personal buffet if we're not careful. So let's get this going. With a bit of luck, you should now all be seeing my city on City Skylines. I'm just going to swap away from OBS. And then there we go. So we have, this is my city, which is called Pride Valley. And it started off over here for a while. Please let me know how things like the audio mix are going. I've turned things down a bit, so hopefully my audio should be coming through, and so should a little bit of audio from the game. So we started with this area, which was all housing and some bits of commercial filtered in. This used to all be industrial, but it got turned into a railway station. And then we actually expanded over here for a bit before we crossed the valley. So the map as a whole is a big island to one side, and then some outer islands on the outside. I've been working on this one for a couple of weeks now. And it's building on a map that was used by Biffa for New Zealand. So, Mad Techie, what do you mean if we're not careful? I thought that would be Lion's plan. Yeah, it's going to become his buffet, basically. Whatever we do, Lion's going to be there going, ooh, oh, that looks yummy. Snack, snack, snack. And it doesn't help that one of the first things you unlock is an antelope enclosure. That's just not going to end well. It's going to end deliciously. So, Lion's pretty happy with his, get an ensuite buffet. After I built out the initial area, one of the first things I did was come across here and I built a... better get the city running. And we built this theme park, which is it's called Mufasa Towers, like Alton Towers, but named after Mufasa from The Lion King. And then it kind of expanded out, and I've got all the different industry DLCs. And then we've kind of got a city centre that has kind of your big city things. So you've got your art museums and courthouses and aquariums and football stadiums and stuff like that. Then we've got a nice big university area, which has its own big sports stadium. And then we actually have a big city centre sort of area where we have some gardens. So these are pre-made little parks, but the rest of it I put together myself with the big gate at the front. And then we've got our various kind of city area. Oh yes, the monorail. I am in love with the monorail. This took me flipping ages to work out how to do and how to get right. So this is my ship hub. So initially the monorail was built to get people from the station, which I'll go to in a tick, down to the university. Everything's better with monorails. You wouldn't want to lose out to Shelbyville. So that's Isaac on chat saying, Simpsons monorail song. Oh yeah, you wouldn't want to listen out to, is it Shelbyville? I think. So the idea with the monorail was to try and get people from the from other transport back into the uni area because my uni numbers were a bit low. So I've got a big hub, all the way over here where I've got lots of other things. So I've got a big spider hub that has both normal trains, metro, and the monorail. So that's where kind of all things monorail start, and then it winds its way through the city to various places. So yeah, this is another little area of the city that's got some sports, big hotel and a lookout tower and stuff like that. I'm running most of the DLCs here, so I have the Industries DLC and Park Life and a bunch of others. So we'll talk about those as we kind of get closer into doing them. So the plan today, I'm going to bring it this way up because this is the way up that I normally work with this area of the island. The plan today is to work out where we want to put our new zoo, start building the zoo, and then is there a chance that the track could bend? Not on your life, my aughty friend. Is there a chance the track could bend? Not on a life, my aughty friend. I don't understand what you're saying there, Isaac. The track building is a bit complicated, so the track takes a bit of a windy route underneath different viaducts and over different things. It's a bit clunky in places because the game doesn't really smooth things out nicely. So it's a bit tricky getting smooth curves like this. I'm not quite sure why that train isn't moving. That's a bit worrying. Hopefully that's just a temporary... why is that train not moving? Uh-oh. Did I break my monorail? Oh, it looks like I did break my monorail. Oops. Well, I think the first thing I'm going to end up doing then is fixing the monorail. What did I do there? Okay, so what have we got here? There's lines overview. So I have a few different lines. So that would be... Okay, so it's this monorail junction and then the platform not freeing up quickly enough. That looks like I've got a... it looks like I've got where there's two monorails that come into here. So there's a little spur that comes up to serve this station up here. So this station up here is near a lot of my industry. So I got my Nala mining industry and my farmland and a little bit of housing to serve them. So I added a monorail there quite recently. And clearly I have caused myself some monorail traffic jams because this station isn't enough to serve both monorails without blocking each other. But for now, I'm not going to look at that because we're about to build a zoo. And where we place the zoo is going to have a really big influence on what we do with our transport infrastructure. So I'm going to leave that for now and we'll work that out once I've worked out where the zoo is going. So we'll start by probably building the transport. What we'll do is we'll build the zoo and then we'll build the transport infrastructure as the zoo levels up. So I had a little bit of a scout around earlier. I'm going to go back to this way up so it's nice and consistent. And we've got a few options. We could, on this side of the map, we have this big shopping centre, this big fancy mall, which has good connections already to things like monorail. But it doesn't have any good road connections. There's no easy route onto the road here. There's not really a lot of space to build one. So this is one place where we could put the zoo. Another thing we could do is we could buy this. We've got this bit of island over here with nothing on it yet. So we could potentially build the zoo up over here. It's got good road connections and we could probably link it into the monorail and other stuff. So that's another kind of strong candidate. It's got some rail links as well. So we could put in a rail link or something. That would be nice. So that's another place where it could go. Or looking back over at the newest part of the city, I built this after I went across to the other side. That shopping centre would be good for a lion and a tiger free roam. It would. I think Lion would describe it as delicious. But he has trouble in shopping centres because of his claws on the shiny floors. They just make him skittle around a little bit. It's a little embarrassing actually, where he's like, "Oh, I'm going to chase a thing, clickety clickety click, slip 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 slip." He's just he kind of struggles with it. Gives the visitor centre a nice close encounter experience. Close encounter with a hungry lion who mostly just wants to eat Smarties, unless you're an antelope. So this area has like a central park and some other bits and bobs. So we could unlock the tiles over here and potentially build the zoo over here, where we might have enough space to build a bit of an interchange, but not really. So the more I'm looking at this, the more I'm thinking. I've got big industry over here, but again, not really a lot of space for good connections into the road, because I've already got a big one up here that's pretty much saturated with the port traffic. Who's Ben? The Mad Techie says Ben has the same issue with floors and claws. Who's Ben, Mad Techie? Is that a puppy or a cat? So yeah, so over here there's a little bit too much interchange traffic already. So I wouldn't want to put any more junctions on this road because this would all snarl up. This is fairly well balanced. There is a queue coming into it. But the way to think about this is it's essentially just a roundabout that happens to have a spur coming off of it that goes to a port. And by keeping it one way, it stops the traffic from crossing over itself. And then a lot of traffic funnels through here, and I've got a lot of my factory areas around here as well. So I don't think I'll build up here. I think this is all going to be housing and more kind of city area, maybe even the airport up near the top. So I think the strongest candidate so far is probably over here. We've got strong road links. We've got lots of space to play with. Ben is your white tiger plushie. Nice. Nice one. I love plushies. I don't know if I've met Ben, your tiger plushie, but maybe I have. I've met the mad techie in the real world a couple of times, so I may have met his plushie. I'm not sure, but yeah, nice to meet you, Ben. And of course, Isaac's saying that monkeys have no such issue, which is true because I've met Monkey as well. Isaac's plushie. Actually, I think everybody on the stream today is like a plushie person. So if you're a plushie person and you have an important plushie in your life and you haven't already mentioned it on the chat room, come say hi, come say hello, and we'll meet your plushie. So we got. I think we're going to start with this area here. It's got plenty of space. It's got good enough transport links. We can probably put some ferry services in from other places. So thinking about this, what do I want to do? I'm going to play this side first. So what I tend to do when I'm playing Skylines is once I've decided which area I'm building, I then rotate it so that the main road into that area is above me. The reason for this is that the traffic in the game uses the US system. So in the US system, your traffic runs on the right-hand side of the road, not the left-hand side. So if I treat the top of the map as where the road comes in, then the traffic that I want is always going to be coming in from the top of the on the top of the on the top of the map, and they're always going to be going to the right. So I can think about things coming into the right and kind of having things go around in lots of right turns being easier than left turns, and it helps me kind of map out the space without having too much crossing traffic. So we do have a peninsula down here. So Isaac's saying that he likes the idea of putting it on the peninsula and the islands. So I'm going to assume that is over here, unless you mean over here. I like it over here, but it's not got enough road transport. And if I put in another road junction, I think it would kind of struggle and be a bit tight. We could potentially bring the road junction. You can set it to left-hand drive on the PC version too. And I think you can do it on the consoles as well. But I find that lots and lots of things break when you do that. I think most people play it right-hand drive. So most of the mods and stuff assume right-hand drive and most of the custom assets and stuff. So that can get a little bit broken. So one way that we could build over here, where we got the traffic that's already coming for the shopping centre, would be to have some transport come down onto these islands and use these islands for, say, hotels and transport, and then have a bridge over to the zoo area. But I think we'll quite quickly run out of space, and then we'll need to expand into this area and kind of have trouble with connecting the two. So that's why I think I'm going to build over here for this one. So looking at this, I quite like the trees it's got. It's got a nice quay wall in it already. And I tend to start these things by thinking about transport and infrastructure. We've already got a nice come off here. These four-way intersections... oh, hello, University. I will come and look to you later. These four-way intersections, they do okay, but they don't do brilliantly as things scale. So I'm going to replace that off the bat with a basic roundabout, because I tend to find that they scale a little bit better. And for that, I'm just going to use the roundabout roads, which are down here. I want a small roundabout. Okay, so I'm going to go back up just a little bit further on that one, and then put a little stub road in, like so, and then build myself a small roundabout. Okay, the small roundabout is still too big, so I'm going to do a handmade roundabout. So that's some one-way roads and my curve line tool. I'm going to trim this one back a little bit as well. So I'm going to do a 3x3 roundabout, I think, and I'm going to align it so that it is square with the main, with where the park will be. So I want it so that the coming off the roundabout will bring you through the middle of the, or bring you to the front of the park area. So I think if I start mapping it out using the park tools, so a zoo is a type of park, So I think, broadly speaking, this is going to be our zoo area, all of this, and down into the peninsula. Oh no, I've just made that a pedestrian area rather than a zoo area. Dope. Park area. There we go. Yeah, painting park areas. And I just have to kind of remember that a zoo is a type of park area. It's not a type of commercial thing, which I make the mistake on a lot. Oops, I've accidentally created two. So this area is going to be the zoo area. You need to go Milton Keynes this and embrace roundabout culture. I agree, Isaac. I try and build non like car centric things, but for in general. So a lot of the kind of more housing areas around here, they're not car centric, and I've got lots of pedestrian malls and stuff like that. But for something like a zoo, I think there'll be a lot of kind of tourists coming in as part of other things. So I'll make sure it has good rail connections and everything else. But good car connections seems like a bit of a default no-brainer on that one. So there's our Lilac Park. We'll rename that, I don't know, New Zoo. I don't know why it's created that as a city park. So I think I need to put down my zoo building in a moment, and I might need to rebuild the area once I've placed the zoo building. I can't remember what order that's supposed to go in. But in general, I think we're going to build around here. And then over here, we're going to have our park entrance, parking, hotels, that sort of thing. And yes, Isaac, you're right. Good bus links too. Everybody loves a good set of buses. So let's start with some roundabout action. Snack bar zoo. I like that. Snack bar zoo. Not sure what that is there. Just clear out a bit of space. And then let's have a 3x3 road. So where do I want to orientate it with? I want the bit that comes off to be along that sort of orientation. So if I assume that this is where the zoo entrance will be. So go into parks, go into zoo, grab myself a zoo main gate like so. There we go. Just like that. Check that it's got the right type. Yeah, so this is now a zoo and it's of the right type. Awesome. I also default by putting the prices up to the most expensive because apparently it doesn't stop people from coming, but it means that you make more money with it and it's more likely to cover its own costs. I'm also going to pause so that we don't get errors as we build it. So this is going to be our main drag up to the zoo. And I think I'm actually going to do that as a one-way system so that people are coming in. All the traffic coming in is going in one certain direction. And all the traffic coming out is going in another direction. Sometimes it's called a couplet system, like so. So that's the where the traffic is coming in. How many is that? So that is between there and there is 1, 2. Vision is sort of okay today, but not brilliant. 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So I want to go 4 across from the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would put me there. So there you go. It's 7 in total. Okay. So this will be my couplet system. So I'll just turn all of that around. So we got that. And then I think I'll have those come into the roundabout. So let's do I think I'll do a 4x4 roundabout. So actually let's do, 4x4. So out 4, down 4, down another 4, out 4, along 4, up 4, like so. So there's my roundabout. I'm going to put some little gravel roads in the middle so that the roundabout doesn't accidentally lose its shape later. Because sometimes when you're messing with things, roundabouts will kind of become oblongs and kind of lose their roundness. So that's why we do that. And then I've got road bending, which is what this is. That will take a straight road and let it turn. So I'm going to have road bending, go back to my one-way roads. and bring it into the roundabout, ideally in the middle of there. I might not have left myself enough space there. So I can go into one of the mods that I've got called Network Multitool, which is this thing down here, and I can add a node there. So nodes are so this sort of thing is in Skylines is called a network, and it's an intersection of kind of lines, so kind of a topological thing, kind of like a series of lines and a connection between them. So I can add another connection node, and then I can push roads and stuff into it, and the game will auto-complete for me. There we go. So we can have that there. We can have that there. So we now have a roundabout that leads into the zoo area, and we can build other businesses off of this, and under tunnels and underpasses and stuff. And then what we want is to have other things coming onto the roundabout, joining ideally from a 90 degrees, and with enough space for future expansion. So there's our thing coming into there. And then we can kind of hook that up to that other place with a nice smooth curve. This is going to be a multi-way road. For this sort of medium traffic road, I'd also tend to use one with a median down the middle, as it kind of establishes that it's a traffic collector or an arterial, which is referencing a thing called road road hierarchy, which is to do with how different types of road are used. So this would be a highway road, and the highway road would come into an arterial. Then an arterial goes into a collector, and then a collector goes into a local road. So the idea is that on a highway, at that extreme, you're getting from a place to another place. So that's a road. And then a local street is about access to the properties that are on the street. So at one extreme, your local streets are all about getting into the buildings that are attached to them. And then your highways are about getting from one place to another. They're about throughput and kind of travelling around. So the first one is your highway. That's entirely about getting from one place to another. An orbital or had the word a minute ago and then it drifted out of my head. It is a arterial road. There we go. That is it's got a little bit more access on it. It's not as fast as a highway. It'll have more things coming off of it, but it's still mostly around getting between major things. And then your collector road is a thing that picks up all the traffic from your local roads and moves it into an arterial. And then your local road is where all of the properties and stuff and all of the hotels and things will be hanging off of. So that's roadway hierarchy, badly explained. There are lots of really great YouTubers who have explained roadway hierarchy way better than that. For a couple of my streams, I take the stream content and then later build like a video out of it. So maybe I'll do a Skylines video at some point and try and explain those things in a less muddled way. Yeah, it's like a highway. It's like a circulatory system. That's exactly it. So that came out as a bridge, which I don't like. I don't want a bridge there, so I'm going to use this tool to set that it's going to have the ground will come up to wherever I place the road, and then I'll connect these. So I want as smooth a line as possible. So I'll come out to here, and then that line there tells me that there's a road guideline. That's what the dotted lines are, and that helps me line things up. So I can bring that into there like that, and that's coming in as a bridging piece. So what did that do? Elevator. Oh, that forced to use elevation. Sorry, that was the wrong way round. I also used the wrong road type. So there we go. And then what I'll also do while I'm in here is I'll just check the smoothness and check that the slopes are fairly good. So do that. Select all the slopes you want and then press enter, and then the tool smooths them out for you. So we have a nice smooth adjoining path. Interestingly, this is where the highway itself appears to actually branch out into being a larger road. So coming in off the edge of the map, this is where the highway itself seems to gain more traffic. So to channel a little bit of City Planner Plays, I'm going to start putting in the water pipes, mostly so I don't forget. And he has this great phrase, which is the water pipes that go under the road where they belong. I don't think we'd actually put the water pipes underneath like a major highway. So I'm going to run the water pipes through the scrub, and then we're going to run them under this bridge and pretend that underneath this bridge there is a water pipe just stuck up under the bridge somewhere, which is something we see quite a lot in the UK. So I'm going to come off here and then go up there. I try to avoid having one water connection, so if in the future I accidentally break it, I don't totally break the water system. So I'm going to just connect all of these together so that I have some redundancy coming in, and I have multiple sources of water and multiple ways in. And then in the future, if I delete one, I won't accidentally break the whole thing. So bring this across here, across here. So I'm going to pretend that this water pipe has been laid along the right-of-way used by the railway. So when the railway got permission to come through here, they were probably told, I'm going to say that they were told by the equivalent of the local authority, the council, or whoever the planning board were, that they had to... I just accidentally clicked in the wrong place. I was disabling the snapping and accidentally clicked over near the map instead. I'm going to accidentally click quite a lot because my hands are not brilliant today. They're not bad though. So yeah, I think when the the railway were allowed through here, they also had to clear access to a provision for water down the side of the railway tracks, and maybe power and electricity and stuff. In fact, I think that will be how we'll get the power here as well. We're going to say that the railway company, were, as a condition of building the railway out this way, were told that they had to leave space for future water pipes. So I will continue adding in all the water pipes. Like so. Channeling City Planner Pays with the water pipes right under the road where they belong. So we only have one supply coming in right now. And generally I don't do that. I try and have multiple supplies. But I think that's going to be okay for starting. And then as we get closer back around here and I've got a better idea of the road network, we'll then start probably linking up to other areas where we can get water. So that's water. Now let's look at power. So with the game by default, it has these very large power lines, and they're cool. They're like, so to show you what they look like, they're like a UK mains power line. They're a very nice large power cable. However, they're a bit larger than what we tend to see within a city. They tend to go from place to place. So I think these are the ones that I'm going to use to bring the power across the water body from over here. But then I'm going to move to some local power cables, which are a bit nicer and a bit smaller and a bit more realistic. Isaac, I like the suggestion of wind turbines. That's a very good idea. I think somewhere like a zoo would have that sort of things. So yeah, these are main grid pylons versus kind of local power distribution or substations. In the main game, the only power options they have are these main grid power lines, and the blue lines indicate where the power is available. And then when you get buildings together, power starts jumping between them. So I'm going to start this one from here, run it through here, if I can, if I've got enough space, which I might not. Why is that not letting me? So I flat out run out of space there, so I can't run it from there. Let's run it from somewhere else. Let's run a local power line up along here to extend the power availability up to the edge of the coast, like so. And then I can run my main power line out over here. So that's too low to go over the monorail. So I think we're going to run that up to there, then run that over there. So I can move these up and down to make them taller. So I'll make it taller, see if I can get it to go over the railway. I can. So then I'll run that up to there and then run this down to the coast. And nicely, I don't need to actually have a direct connection between these because they have an area effect. So I'm going to put that as a... I'm going to say that that's jumping across using the effect because I don't think... Oh, it let me do that. Yeah, that looks a bit weird because the models don't snap. So I'm going to not do that because the models look a bit odd. So let's have these jump across like so. The local lines are really good, Isaac. I quite like them. They create a nice area effect because they're essentially buildings. Um, so we're going to do a power distribution just over here at the top, I think. And that's where I'll have the different lines come and meet each other. And then that's how we'll get power into the park area, like so. I'm not quite sure what happens if I try and connect these. Let's see. I think it might give us a weird looking thing. Oh, partly because that's really high up. So I need to bring that down to normal level. Bring that back down to the ground like so. And how does it do connecting to that? That still doesn't connect very well. So what we'll do later is we'll build some power distribution up here, so we can believe that there's some sort of power set up there. What's this? What have I got? Ocean thermal. No, I think I'll leave that for now. That'll be a later thing. We'll build the power distribution hub and model it out, and probably do that in like a detailing session, because I tend to build things out kind of fairly roughly, get them working, and then go back and like detail them up later. So I'm going to run this power right up. I'm going to run it up to here and then run it along the side of the railway for a bit, just so it's here for later, and then as we build things later they can pick it up. So there we go. We have our basic connectivity to the road. I think the next thing we're going to want is going to be some sort of railway connection. So I think it'd be good to have the railway connection coming in and then having a direct path into the park where people don't need to swap across. You're right, Techie, I do need a substation building. I don't think I've got one of those, but I think I can make one. So I might have a go at making one kind of later. We'll build a little substation up here. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put in a little area now called substation so that I can remember to make one later. And then that'll be like a future project, I think. Substation. Like so. So I'd like to have a railway connection up here, and then probably a monorail connection as well, or even a metro connection. So if the railway's coming through here, the railway's going to be best down on this side, and I think this area could be where we have the railway come in, and then we have the railway potentially connect back up over here. So it comes in here. How do I want to do that? Let's see what railway buildings I've got, what stations I've got to choose between. So this is like the elevated station. Okay, so with the elevated station, we could have it around here. Have a bypass. So this would have its own bridge, which then joins back up over here, I think would be the way to do it. Zoo Parkway Station seems a smart idea. What do you mean by parkway there? Isaac? Yeah, I think that's going to be a good station for it. I've got lots of different station options because I've got a lot of the content creator packs. There is one that I really like that's kind of a diamond shape, it's not square, that one. So I like that one because it's nice and low down to the ground. However, because it's low down to the ground, I'll have trouble with the slopes coming up and down unless I leave enough space for them. This is a little bit tight for that, so I think I'm going to want an elevated station. What else have we got in terms of elevated stations? Elevated island station platform. Okay, so that's a nicer elevated station, and it's also got parking. I've also used that somewhere else in the city. Elevated bypass. There we go. So this one, I believe, has got 2 sets of tracks on it, meaning that trains that are stopping can stop and other trains can go straight by. So if that's the case, I think that means that I won't need to build a big go around. This can basically pretty much be the railway connection. So I think I'm going to build that around here and then run the traffic into it. Okay, I see, Isaac. So what you're meaning by a parkway is that it's kind of a station that's dedicated for one purpose, which is what this would be. It would be built basically for the zoo, but then it would also serve the surrounding area, which will be housing and corporate and business sort of stuff. Commercial, is I think the word the game uses. What do I fancy? Do I fancy an elevated bypass, or do I fancy having 2 things? I think I'm going to go for the elevated bypass because it's nice and simple and it's a good use of space. So let's start by taking away the train that's there. That's interesting that the ground isn't actually high enough to need that. So let's start by putting down the road, I think. So if I smooth out a patch of ground here, right, so I'll come tidy all this up in a bit. We'll get rid of the trees as well, and we'll add those back later. Can see my power line from earlier, which I will temporarily remove again because still working it out. Right. So East Midlands Parkway was built for the airport. Okay, that makes sense, Isaac, that they built a station to serve an airport. So let's see if we run a... Can we run a road through here that is nice and straight, which the station can then sit on? Because that would look quite cool. So if I want that station to go in, I want it to be at kind of a bit of an angle. So let's continue that road up to like there, and then find the angle that we want, say 75 degrees. Do it that way. Could do it that way, maybe like that, and then drop in the station. Okay, so I'm a little bit high up and I need to bring it down here and then rotate it around a bit more so it's a bit more straight. It's useful to know. So I'm going to turn off the road guidelines because they're a bit annoying when we're doing it this way. Say something like that. Nope, need to come down a little bit more from there. It's the right angle though, but just the wrong position. So for this one, rather than scrap it and rebuild it, I'm going to just move it down to where I want it using this mod that enables you to move things called the Move It mod. So let's bring that down there like that. There we go, I like that. I think we can do something fairly smooth with that. So give ourselves some track. High-speed rail viaduct. No, that's using the standard rail at the moment. I'll go look at that later and maybe put on some fancier track info. Put on some fancier track bed. So I still have the bring the ground up to match whatever I build, which is why that created a patch of ground for this to land in. And I'll play with the heights of everything in a minute to make it all smooth. And then for this one, we want it to come in as a nice smooth curve. So I'll turn the road guides tool on, slide this up and look for that road guide. There it is, so I can get quite far. And then I click once and then click again to actually build out the road. So there we go, we have a nice bit of raised ground coming in. I'm now going to bring the rest of the ground around it up to meet. And then later, this station would also be able to be accessible from this side with things like paths. So rather than build the ground up all the way around, I think I'll leave a bit behind it for a future raised stairway to a bridge over this so that pedestrians can get from the station to this area without having to walk around. I think that would be quite useful. Isaac's saying in the chat that he really finds Move It mod valuable. I agree, it's really useful. Just bring that up to where it was, just so it's a little bit tidier, and then later we can build a little platform bridge or something up over the top. Okay, so we have our station. So with our station in this position with that nice junction there, I think I will hook into that junction. And what I might even do is actually, do I want the collector to run past the station? There's a question. Yes, if I did it that way, this could, rather than be a junction, this could be a sweep back around, and my collector could run up. Do I want my collector around it? Actually, I'm going to instantly regret that as it gets busier and this train starts blocking other traffic. So I think the train's actually going to sit off on its own spar, and it will be accessible from the collector, but it won't actually be the collector itself, I think is what I'm going to do there. So let's play with some things. I think in the spirit of move it being rather useful, I think I'm going to move this out a little bit so that it will connect up nice and smoothly with the station above. 101 versus 89. So I need to go ever so slightly back, I think. Let's try that, see if that lines up nicely. There you go, 90 at the road and 100 at the station. That's what we want. And I'm going to make these all wide pavements as well to encourage people to walk this way. So let's make that all wide pavements because we want to encourage this as a route of traffic, a route for walking. We might also build a bridge up over the road at some point so you can get to this place without any walking at all. There is so much content for this game now. It is pretty amazing. And this is just using the off-the-shelf stuff. I think this is from one of the creator packs, which are £2 or £3, and this is from Park Life, which I think you can now pick up for about £5. And we haven't even really built much of the zoo yet. We're best part of 40 minutes into the stream, and we're still building the we're best part of 40 minutes into the stream, and we're still building the infrastructure to go with the actual thing that we want to build, which is nice and realistic. That you're a long way into the project and you're still establishing the infrastructure. That sounds familiar. So I'm now going to just bring this into here so that people have a route in. Cool. And I've done that as a nice curve as well. Cool. So I think we're actually now ready to start on the zoo itself, and we'll build out the accommodation and other leisure stuff like hotels over here later. There's a new DLC coming very soon, like on the 23rd of May. Incidentally, for folks in the chat who maybe don't know, Skylines actually has a free weekend this weekend. So if people don't have access to the game, they actually have it for free for this weekend. And then on the 23rd, they've got the new hotels DLC coming. So I think I'm going to save this for a place where I put a future hotel. So I'll get some commercial stuff in here today, but I think that'll be where there'll be a future hotel. So now we have the access sorted, I think it's time to actually start thinking about the zoo itself. I've not designed very many zoos in this game, so let's see what I've got available. I've got the antelope enclosure. So I think we know that we've finished for the day when we have the antelope enclosure set up and running. But I'm not going to start there, although there's a certain lion who's currently sat behind me going antelope, 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 antelope. I think we're going to start by building out, the entrance to the zoo, and we'll get to the antelope in good cause, unless, of course, the rather excited lion behind me tries to eat me, in which case I might have to get on with building the antelope enclosure sooner. So I'm going to start by running a path down the front, and then thinking about how I want it when you come into the park. You've come through the park entrance, and to either side of the park entrance, I'll put in a little bit of car parking. Like so, just so that people have a place to park straight off the bat. So you've come into the park entrance, and I want you to kind of be greeted by a bit of a plaza space. At this point, the game sort of turns into Zoo Tycoon for a little bit. So we're going to want things like a gift shop and loos, as Isaac's just saying there as well. We're going to want things like loos and things like that. So let's see, animals. And we want the paths. I'm going to run a path up the front, and that'll be the start of our park area. And I will come and play with this land in a little bit. Let's see. So let's see what we've got. We've got Zoo Plaza, Zoo Cafes. Let's start with a cafe. So let's have a cafe that is facing the path rather than the entranceway, so that it's attaching to the route that's probably going to be a little bit less busy. In fact, we're going to have 2 of those. Actually, no. What we have, we'd like restrooms and toilets. Let's do a souvenir shop here. Again, facing the pathway where it's slightly less busy. And then we'll pop the restrooms facing the side, so that they're not the first thing people see when they walk in. So they're still easy to find. So that gives us, coming in, you can see the gift shop and you can see the park. I want to have something really impressive in that initial sight line. So as you come in, there's something on the end of it that's really a real wow moment. that pulls you further into the park. So let's make that a little shorter and see what we've got in terms of enclosures and cool buildings. So we could have a plaza sat on the end of here, or what else could we have? Well, what enclosures do we start with? Moose and reindeer enclosure, birdhouse, antelope enclosure. Which one of these is most expensive? I think birdhouses are big. Antelope enclosures are pretty big. Moose enclosure is massive, and I think it's got its own paths if I remember correctly. A big monument, yeah, good big monument could work. This is why I don't play Zoo Cartoon with the carnivorous plushies too close to the mouse. Yeah, good point, Mad Techie. It's a bit dangerous playing games like this with hungry plushies around. Let's see, a big monument. That's a good idea. What have I got in unique buildings that might fit in this space? Oh, actually, there's a new Africa pack. And one of those has like a big spider-shaped museum. So I think I'm actually going to start there, but I think that needs to attach to a road. I can't attach it to a path like I have inside a zoo. So I'm not sure I can actually do that. What else have we got? I think I'm leaning at the moment towards the moose one because it's got its own paths. And if I remember correctly, there's like a raised bit as well. So it'll be quite noticeable coming in. Let's see how that looks. Okay, so that's where that is. How could it be? Oh, it's cool, but it's not. It's cool, but it's not a wow moment, so I'm going to put that to a side for now. What else do we have in here? Let's see what the birdhouse looks like. We want like a big, imposing, cool-looking building. Yeah, the birdhouse is pretty cool. If I turn it onto its side a little bit, that's pretty cool potentially. Let's see. Turn that around. Coming in, and you've got, yeah, it's a fairly large building, but it's not that grand. I think what we'll do is later on we start getting access to some really big buildings like the reptile house. We only need to get to level 2, so I think we're going to start with this being empty for later expansion. I have also lost my path. Good point. Someone stole my path. I'm going to tree line this path because it's the fancy path that comes into like the main area of the park. So I think I'm going to, rather than have the birdhouse or anything that's a bit small here, I think I'm going to start by putting the reptile house and something like that here later. And then for now, I think I'm going to run the enclosures that we've got. So I want to make good use of the space, and this is quite a large space that I might split up later into smaller things. And we got these other large spaces coming off to the side. So I think for these really large ones, I'm going to run a path down the side and then connect them up. So if I bring that to there and make it square with the grid, that can connect onto there. So if that became the kind of the perimeter outer bank, then we could do that. And then later we could have like viewing platforms or something up here. So let me just remove these trees so we don't get collision. Like so. And then place this so that it's got path access. Dum, ba-dum, dum, dum, dum. Like so. Whoops, that's the wrong path. One of these paths. So that gives us the moose enclosure. We do like a good moose. And then I think we're going to actually put the... where do we want to put the birds? Let's see. If I was a bird, where would I want to be? Let's see. If I was a bird coming into a park, where would I want to be? The Mad Techie, you need to be careful with the birdhouse. If you turn it on its side, all the birds will fall off their perches. Do you know, I hadn't thought of that, but now that you make that point, it's a really good point. I wouldn't want all the birds falling off their perches. That'd be terrible. Get me in trouble. So I think I'm going to bring the birdhouse and put it birds and kind of reptiles. You got dinosaurs that are bird hipped and reptile hipped. So I think the birds and the dinosaurs are going to be, the birds and the reptiles will be fairly close to each other. So I'm going to have the birdhouse there, and then I've got space around it for other paths and things like that. And then what have we got up here? We have these mooses up here, shielded from the wind and stuff of the ocean by lots of trees. And then we can have like a little park area behind there. And let's see what we've got in here. What else do we have? Moose and reindeer, antelopes. Do you know what? I think I'm actually going to change my idea entirely. This is a park we're building for one very specific lion. And the thing he is most interested in, by far, is the antelopes. So actually, the antelopes are going to go front and centre. They are the most important thing for this park. They're the thing that draws all of its largest predators / interested people. So when you come in, the first thing you're going to see right in front of you is the cafe, the gift shop, and the antelope enclosure. Because to lion, they're all basically the same thing. I like that, I think that's how we're going to do that. The antelopes are going to be front and centre, and then we'll have the reptile house across to one side. So I think we'll pull the gift shop over slightly like that, and then we've got space here for the reptile house in the future. And then I'm going to square that out a bit with some paths. And then I think we'll have the birds off to one side from there, like so, like that. Which has just blocked off my moose enclosure. So I think, let's see if the mooses will fit over here. So let's pretend that the mooses didn't like living so close to the... So importantly, because one of our friends has a moose plushie that's very important to them, Lion doesn't eat moose. The only moose he eats is banana flavoured moose that he gets from a tub, which we're reliably informed isn't the same sort of moose. So that's important. So whilst he won't be eating the moose, it is good to have the moose nearby. Moose, 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 moose. Moose. Do love a good bit of moose. Oh, I've already got a moose enclosure. It's over there. How can I get that to fit? What have I got? Because the moose has its own paths. So I've actually put the paths in the wrong place there. I'm starting to get a little bit of fatigue on the... Oh, that's weird. Starting to get a little bit of fatigue with my hands, which is why I'm having a little bit of trouble with driving the mouse in an accurate way. Which way around do I want that to go? Because it's got its own path, so I think I'm going to make the moose enclosure part of the path network of the whole thing, like so. And then I'm going to take away these paths and then move the whole thing down. Lion doesn't snack on primates for many reasons, one of which is apparently they're just not very tasty. They're kind of not worth the chase. He very much only snacks on, I think it's even-toed ungulates. He's very specific about the snacks he enjoys. It's about 90 degrees. And then I think I actually want that to come through and then have the antelope thing tucked in with it. So let's move that again up to, say... Well, it's the gift shop, so the gift shop will be like right on the way out. But I'd quite like to have something tucked in here with this coming off here. So I think the gift shop will get its own space like that. I'll remove these and I'll run my path this way. So I don't know about other people who play this, whether you I used to think that playing a game like this, I'd find myself sitting out and sort of planning myself a stuff on pen and paper before I actually build things. But I'm generally finding that working it out as I build is kind of more enjoyable sometimes. It's nice to just kind of experiment and find out and see how things fit together. But for other things, I do like to pre-plan a little bit or have some good, or have a good look at things. So I think I'm actually going to copy this shape on the other side so that I have a bit of symmetry. Do I want to do that? No, I don't want to do that. Instead I'm going to use this as the continuation. And the antelopes. Will the antelopes get upset by the noise of the trains? Potentially. I think I'm going to continue this key wall and forest it out so that the antelopes don't get too annoyed by the noise of the trains. And whilst I'm doing that, I'll think a little bit about what I want to do with the rest of it. What do you think? So, question for the chat room. What do you think for the layout? I'm thinking of having like all the major pens up this side because it's got plenty of space for when the pens get bigger, and then more of the smaller zoo-related things and gardens and pretty paths and plazas kind of down this way. But first, I'm going to put in a key wall so that the key wall won't go in because it's not got any water. However, I've got a mod which I think is the Better Road mod. Can't remember what this is called, and that has an anarchy mode, which means I can override the game and get it to let me put things in where they shouldn't normally go. So I'm going to do this as a curve, like so, and that gives me a nice curve and a nice raised wall. And then I'm going to take away some of that land. So this just lets me smooth that out a little bit. Oh, that's interesting that that's not at the right height. Let me just snap that back down to ground height, like so. Do you get many aquatic enclosures? I don't know. Let's have a look. We get bisons and insect, amphibians and reptiles, flamingos, elephant enclosure, sea life enclosure, which I think does have to go on water. So I think the sea life enclosure will have to go, down here somewhere. Maybe we'd make a little bay or something for that to go on. What else do we get? We get a giraffe enclosure, a monkey palace, so we can have an entire palace for your monkey friend there, Isaac. A rhino enclosure, and then finally, when you have a level 5 zoo, you get a lion enclosure, which has a fenced area for facilities for housing lions, which Lion will point out is actually just a lion hotel, and the lions can come and go whenever they like because it is their park, and they're nice enough to let the humans in to view the snacks. But yeah, Lion's not a great fan of the lion enclosure. He thinks that's a little harsh. So we've only got the one aquatic animal, so I think we'll build a little bay for that when we get there, when it's unlocked. So for now, I'm going to build some roads out so that we can snug the birdhouse up against this new retaining wall. And I'm also going to put some trees up on top of the retaining wall to try and act as a bit of a noise buffer. So I've got my tree mod here, and I have a tree preset. So that tree preset matches what's already on the map. So we don't have enough space for trees up there at the moment. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that out slightly to give us some more space for trees. Oh, actually, maybe I can use a a thing called prop line tool and lay like an organized row of trees. So what trees are these? This is a tool called Picker mod. Enables you to know what you're picking. So that is called the alder. Is that telling me that it's the alder tree? Let's see. That one is a live oak. Okay, I quite like live oak. So let's run a line of live oaks down the outside of here. That's probably too close together, so let's spread them out a little bit more than that. And let's make the curve a bit more generous. There we go. So now we have a bunch of live oaks to shield the train line from the park. And it also acts as a noise buffer so that we don't upset the animals as much. And I'm going to continue that all the way up to the end. Like so. Tremendous. Thank you for that pun there, Isaac. Tremendous. Oh, God. Well done. Cool. Let's remove these trees. So I think that's going to be our tree border for the top half. It's going to be that the trees stop at that constructed line. I'm also going to play around with our power in a little bit and bring that across. Can you have a list of the mods I'm using? Yeah, what I'll do is at the end of this, I use a tool called Load Order Tool, which enables different types of mods. So I'll dump out the Load Order Tool list so you can see exactly what mods and assets I'm using. Because it's quite interesting. They are cool. I really like, I like the game's flexibility with mods. And being a developer-y sort of person, I have had a few ideas for mods of my own and things I'd like to build, so there might be more in that space in the future. So talking of mods, this is the network multi-tool mod, and it lets me align things and build parallel things. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to have the outer wall follow that retaining wall. So if I select them there, thank you very much, young Bill. That's really nice. My voice is heart soothing. Thank you. That's really kind. Happy flap. So I'm gonna build this so that it aligns with the corner there. And whoops, that's the wrong button. Go back to path mode, park mode. There you go, park mode. I'm going to align the path so that it comes through around the outside, so it will all nicely match up and just look nice. And it will give us nice, easy access. And in the future, we might then put tunnels. So if we end up having the zoo spread to the other side, we can then put tunnels under the road and kind of hide the road from view a little bit. So this is going to build it at the same height as the key wall, which is, it's QU whatever it is, which I always want to pronounce as quay rather than key, but it's not. It's key rather than quay. But I always want to call them quays. But I'll bring that down to ground level, like so, and then hit enter, and it has still built it as a bridge piece. So what I think I'll do is I'll use this mod to force them to be a ground piece. It won't let me upgrade it because it needs to upgrade to like a different type of road. There we go. So I'll force it to be a ground piece of a different type of road. Then in move order node, I will select all of the nodes that make up the path. This allows me to force them to match the terrain height, so that they're not floating in air. Because at the moment, they're probably adding. They're whilst they're on the ground, whilst they're level, they're not actually totally on the ground. So I'm going to just align those properly with the ground by doing that. And then I can change it to the actual paths that I want, which are the zoo paths. And we'll go for undecorated for now. But if it becomes a major through point through the park, then I'll add trees to it and make it more pretty. Just connect that up like so. So I'm quite liking this. Mirror that on that side. Can I get a path through there? Oh, I can get a path through there. Lovely. So I think it is, I think just for the sake of Lion, we're going to put another cafe. So we've got Zoo Cafe 1, Zoo Souvenir Shop. In fact, we're going to go to the other type of parks. One of those has got a cafe as well. There you go, Park Cafe Type 1. We're going to grab one of those and we're going to pop it right next to the antelope enclosure. Right next door to the antelope enclosure. And this is Lion's favourite cafe in the entire park. For some reason, can't imagine why, and it's the one that's right next to the antelope enclosure. I assume it's because it's got brilliant views into the antelope enclosure. And then to fill the space behind that, I'm going to use a park info booth because it's a nice building that's got some nice trees on it. So yeah, this is Lion's favourite cafe that is right next to the antelope enclosure, and it has, there's no implication there. Lion just likes being in that area of the park. Who knows why. That makes me giggle. Right, where do I want to put the birds? I think the birds are a little bit out of the way over here, so I think we need to put them up somewhere scarce. Better. So many cafes. Lions are scary. I think like lions are scary, like the big 200 kilo ones. But I've got Lion, and he goes everywhere with me. In fact, I think if I just pause this, I can actually show you a picture of Lion using OBS. I think I have him on one of my OBS thingies. Pictures. So if you can see that picture, you should see a picture of my one of my adaptive accessibility setup sorts of things. And if I full screen that and then do some things, I should be able to resize that. And whoops. This is me trying to remember how to use the tool as I go. So there's a picture of Lion. He's the fella down here, just chilling out in the corner. And then there's also a picture of Lion up here. So this is Lion. He hangs around with me. He's been going everywhere with me for like 23 years, something like that. He's my like sidekick who goes everywhere. And yeah, so that's kind of who I'm building the park for. So like the target audience is this very specific lion, and hopefully you can all see lion. So I'm gonna swap back to game mode. But yeah, hey lion, love you very much. He's sat just kind of beside and behind me at the moment, on a nice big pillow, chilling out and watching us build things, whilst he thinks about dinner. So let's transfer back to get back to the game. So where am I going to put the birds? Well, we know that we kind of want to build a bay for the sea life to come into. So I want to kind of keep that area nice and clean, nice and free. And I kind of want things to be fairly gridded, or at least gridded enough that I can make good use of the space. Who's that Pokemon? Who's that Pokemon? I'm not sure if I've got a Pokemon in that photo. Let me go have a look. Let me go see who that Pokemon is. Do I have a Pokemon in there? I do. No. I do. No. So that's Lion doing his thing. Do I have a Pokemon in this photo? Not that I can see. Unless you mean that Lion looks a little bit like a Pokemon. In which case, yeah, he does a little bit. I've got some better photos of him somewhere. I think underneath here, there's a photo of him lying lengthways. And then I'm not sure what the other image I've got in this set is. Oh, the other image is the XAC, so we won't worry about that. So yeah, there's Lion chilling out, doing his thing. Hey Lion. I'll swap back to the game. Otherwise I'll just end up sitting here monologuing about Lion for 10 minutes, which is lovely. Lion's brilliant. Lion's probably more responsible for cool things in my life than I can possibly think of. Oh, that's weird. I'm actually still in the OBS software, but my mouse still thinks it's in the game. That's a bit weird. Crazy. Okay, so now I'm back to the game. So I'm going to square things up a little bit. I like having Lion. So just before I get more distracted, Lion has been like a really good part of my life. It's one of the questions I get quite often from people is about Lion, or kind of how Lion came about and what the story is there. And it's just when I was a kid, I felt better with Lion around. So I just when I was able to make the choice, I had Lion around with me a lot. And as I did that, I kind of built in confidence and felt more myself and was doing more things and having more fun with life. So Lion just kind of defaulted to coming along with everything. And then before I knew it, it had been, 5 years of Lion going pretty much everywhere with me. And at that point, I just felt better that way. It kind of became part of my life, part of my routine. So Lion's kind of been hanging around with me ever since. So that's kind of the backstory on Lion. I'm going to actually start the games. So right now the game is paused whilst we're building things. The downside of that is we won't be getting any visitors. And because we're not getting any visitors, we won't be getting towards the next level up of the park. And until the park levels up, we won't be able to get access to other enclosures. So I'm gonna put the game going and put it in zooming mode. And then I'm going to double check that I've got enough electricity. Yeah, plenty. I'm going to double check that I've got enough water. I do. It's a little bit close, so I'm going to put a little bit more water into my water budget, I think. Just to make sure that I've got enough to cover the water use of the park. Like so. So, oh, I didn't put any pipes within the park itself. See, that'll do it. And also didn't move the pipes from earlier. So let's move those up so everything all lines up nicely. Turn off the road snapping. Putting the pipes under the paths where they belong, as City Planner Plays would say. If you like City Skylines content, I couldn't recommend City Planner Plays and a chap called Biffa enough. They're both amazing content creators for Skylines. They're like the tutorial that I wished the game itself came with, but at the same time, they do stuff in such a unique way that I don't think any tutorial could be as good as they are. Ah, I'm really glad to hear that, Isaac. So Isaac's saying that Michael Monkey hangs around with him more now. He's beside him more, and it's stopped and reduced your meltdowns and stuff. That's really good to hear. Like, plushies are just amazing. I think if I'd be like I'd be the chairman of like the plushie appreciation club. Plushies can be life changing, and part of it is also just accepting who we are and what we enjoy and what makes us feel safe and happy. Like, there's just value in that too. So Lion kind of represents that, accepting myself for who I am and kind of what it means for me to be happy and to, I tend to like things that are colourful and bouncy, and I bounce around doing stuff, and it's nice to just have Lion join me for that and be part of me. It's nice. It's nice to have Lion as part of my life. Yeah, we don't want any thirsty animals, which is why I'm putting in all the water pipes. So yeah, that is it. Signing up, and let's see how it's doing. So we have had 0 visitors, although this might be our first visitor. Oh, it's a park maintenance vehicle. That's a little bit depressing. Hopefully there will be some visitors coming this way soon. I know what I haven't done. I haven't actually set up the railway station with any railway stops. So let's start building a train line. So I think I'm going to start by building a train line that's a shuttle service between this and the next major station. So we'll start create a new line. Find our way up here. And then click here. So this is the one by the university. That's good. We'll then go up to that central station up here. And we'll pick what platform we want it on. So we'll have it come onto here. And then I don't have any... My next train line is actually all the way around over on the other side. Let's put it on the other side as well. Let's have that as an option as well. So then everybody on the map has a route into the new zoo. And then it comes back around here. So we will click here again to get the return stop. Then we'll follow it up here. Ooh, I know the rotation. When I rotate the map to keep it the right way up, it sometimes makes me feel proper queasy. And then pop another one there. Young Bill, you're low. Oh, thank you very much, Young Bill. It's making me blush. Thank you. All's whoosh. All's the whoosh. And then I'll complete the line. So there we go. Now we've got a way for people to come in by train. And I think we will also... there we go. There's some people coming by cars as well. And they're all going to the station. Lovely. Gosh, 19 passengers already. We'll also allow this one to take intercity trains so that people can travel off the map into where we are. I think I'm also going to extend the monorail over here, which should be fairly easy because we've got a monorail point coming off here. So let's see if I can make the monorail monorail rails. No, the monorail rail, because it's a monorail. It's only got one rail. Then it's got one both ways, so it's actually monorail rails. That's confusing. My pairs of monorails. My plural of monorail tracks. Let's have that come across. Where do I want that to come across? Where do I want it to come in? That's actually the better question is, where do I want my monorail to stop this side? So I can have a monorail station that sits over the top of a road. Or I can have a monorail station that sits next to a road. I can also have these combined hubs that have both monorail and other things. So for example, this is a combined metro monorail train hub, but that's kind of a little bit too complicated. I think I'll just go for a separate station there. I'll let the monorail be the monorail. And I'd like it to come into this area somewhere. So I'm thinking that the monorail might sit in here. I think that'd be a nice place for it. And then have it go... Oh, I forgot to fix my lumpy bumpies earlier. Terrible, Jamie. Just pause that. That would be an interesting experience on a train. That'd be a little bit of a bump. I'd probably break everybody's spines, which is, generally frowned upon. Train. So I want this to be a raised piece. Raised piece, please. Cool. And then I will smooth it all out a little bit. I can actually probably remove that node itself so that I don't get like that. There you go. And now that's all smoothly tidied up. Do you reckon we'll get a monorail over that? I don't think we'll get a monorail under it, but I think we would get a monorail over that. So I'd want the monorail to be running down this side. That also means I can easily have the monorail drop off at the other side in the future if I want to. How about giving the monorail its own entrance? One over the road with a bus interchange. That would be cool. So just looking at things in the chat now. Give the monorail its own entrance. Ooh, monorail's own entrance. What do you mean by the monorail's own entrance there, Mad Techie? If you could elaborate on that, that would be interesting. I love the folks who arrive on my stream who have opinions about trains and different train options. So Isaac, your thought that the 800 family intercity trains break spines. I love that. Makes me smile. Like, I don't know if they do or not. I'm not that much. I don't know enough about trains to comment, but I love that other people do and they have perspectives on things like that. It just makes me smile. I'm also going to, because I'm a little bit, I like things to be nice and smooth. So I'm also going to just smoothen that one out a little tiny bit and just have a slightly smoother run into the station with slightly less of a curve to it. And do the same this side, just ever so slightly. Like so. Make it nice and smooth. Oh, as in like have the monorail station within the zoo itself. Is that what you meant, Techie? So that it actually has its own dedicated entrance. Oh, I get what you mean. That's a really good idea. Oh, I like that. That's a really good idea. I don't know if I can put a monorail. I think a monorail has to be on a road. I don't think I can put a monorail against a path. And all of the zoo things are paths. Let me see if I can put a monorail against a path. Because if I can, then yeah, we could actually have the monorail stop smack bang in the zoo itself. Like right off the zoo. A monorail gate on the water side. Yeah, that would be really cool. And I could actually have I could probably do a little access road. So, yeah, I can't do a monorail station against the path. But what I could do is do a road. So let's play with that. And for now, we'll just do it in a corner. And then we can move it later to make it work better. So... I like the idea of a waterside monorail. So if I pop that down there like that. Oh, I've still got it in everything should be in the air mode, so that's giving me a bridge to nowhere. Let's not do that. Let's have a road like so. I'll pop a monorail station on it. The monorail mechanics are a little bit fun. They're a little bit tricky in how they connect up. So we'll see a little bit of that. We've got collision turned on, so it should take away the trees, but for some reason it's not taking away the trees. So we'll take them away manually, and then we can add some back later when we've got an idea of where it's going and what it's doing. So I think we should have the monorail. I like the idea of a coastal monorail. I actually have the monorail along the coast for most of this island. It occasionally tucks up out the way. So over here it tucks up underneath the rail because this was the only way to get all of the different heights I needed, and what you're seeing here, by the way, represents about 4 hours of fiddling about with monorails and getting all the clearances right, so when a train comes through it doesn't collide with the bridge, but all of the slopes leading up to and from it are within spec for a railway, so I think it was like 1.7%, I can't remember. And then that leads into the station, and then the station comes up around this roundabout. And I needed to get it so the pillars of the roundabout could hold it up, but the pillars of the roundabout were colliding with the roundabout itself. So I ended up doing the pillars of there's a little wiggle coming out of the station to go around the roundabout. Yeah, that all took me ages. And then that gives me the stadium, and then the stadium has its own direct access to the train, the metro, and the monorail. So yeah, it took a lot of time to get all of that going right, but it was basically too hard. There wasn't an easy way to bring the monorail back up to the right side to the correct orientation to hit this main road so that I can have a hub without bringing it down the front and then trying to bring it up and then sort of doubling back on itself. So that's why I kind of brought it up through there. And because the monorail can run over the top of normal roads, you kind of get that, you get to reuse your infrastructure. And then after I did that, I started placing the bodies. I started placing the large hotels and then the parks. And then I designed a little like pedestrian area. So when I do a pedestrian area, because I'm a bit nerdy, the pedestrian area itself is the whole thing's pedestrian. That's because that's the wrong sort of donk. I can't remember. which one do I want? I want shopping mall styling. So that's the one that sets the style. That's the one that sets the area. Okay. So the areas, the shopping centres kind of starts here. So these are proper roads and well, kind of car roads. And then this is where the pedestrian area starts through this big archway. And then on the other side of the archway, I've got their kind of big, I'm an ugly car park, but I've been covered in wood to make me look pretty, sort of parking infrastructure. That's the service area. So when you build a pedestrian area, you need to have a service area to handle all the rubbish and things like that. So that's there. But then I was thinking, like, well, what else would they have? Well, they'd have an office. So I went and set them up with like an office, which is the place that runs the tourist area. Although I didn't rename it at the time, so I'm going to call that like, mall offices. And I have that on both sides so that there's a place for the place to be run from. And then I kind of had this little organic food market that popped up out of the other side because I was thinking if I was going to a mall, what sort of things would there be? So I like the idea of like a dedicated food area. Thanks for the nice comment again, young Bill, about my city being very, very beautiful. It's I really like it. It's taken a lot of learning, and even things like these fences, all the fences down the side of the road I placed, and all of the trees and all that sort of stuff. And then you've got this pedestrian area that ends in a big plaza, and then it's got a bridge back up over into the rest of the town. So there's foot access to basically everything. Some of the foot access goes under the main road through the middle. And then when I was building this, I kind of wanted to also do like a nature park, like a nature reserve. And further across the map, there was this big forested area. So I decided I'd turn that into the nature reserve. So that's also got some access across into other places. And then it helps people get to the kind of more industrial area as well. It's only on 1 star. I've not really done much with it, but I want to add in things like camping and stuff like that. So that'll be a kind of like on the options earlier, I said it was like between a new build or doing some detailing, kind of building this up and kind of shaping this out and adding more detail to it. That's kind of like a detailing stream. So I might do that in the future on stream. I've forgotten what I was doing. Trains, trams, monorail. Everybody needs a monorail. I've got the monorail song in my head now. Da 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 da, monorail, derpa rail. Oh yeah, we were going to build a monorail that runs around the outside of the park, and then work out how to connect it with the rest of the monorail. Okay, so I think we could actually have multiple monorail stations, so that people can come in from multiple ways. And then those monorail stations kind of help people move, kind of like you can enter the park from either of them. So I've never been to Disneyland, and I know that Disneyland has monorails. And I think one of the monorails runs through a hotel. So I wonder if I could have something like that. I could build this in such a way that my monorail can run through a hotel. That would be really cool. I'm just slowly learning the asset editor as well, so potentially I could combine some sub-assets like buildings, bits of building and stuff, and potentially build myself a custom monorail running through a hotel sort of building. I might have to play with the little the editor for that. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to smoothen all of this out so it's nice and smooth. There is a tool for it in the network tool. Which is this one, where you can select the path that you want and it will show you like the nice smooth version of it. But the one thing I kind of try and preserve whenever I can is to have the major roads meet at right angles so that you've got vision around the corner. You don't really want to be coming into a road at an angle, so I'll try and move something off as a straight angle so that the junction's nice and clear, and then connect stuff up from there. And then I might, smoothen it out so it's a little bit more rounded. Although not like that, because that isn't good. Let's do it like that. So there you go. You can drive up in and you'd have nice visibility onto this road. And then if we run the road around the outside, do I want to run the road around the outside? No, I think I'm going to stop that road there, but I'll run the monorail around the outside, and then I'll do a monorail connection road. So monorail is not that one, it's that one, that one, that one. And so I can upgrade this to monorail for later. And then we can continue the monorail straight on. And that will work quite nicely. Connecting into these monorail roads is a little bit messy. So in a few places where my monorails look a bit odd, it's because I had to connect them onto monorail style roads. So let's do that. And then how would we like it to go? Let's have a nice big curve. So actually, rather than have that come through quite straight like that, let's have this continue off down here and up to here. And in the future, we'll have our aquatic animal stuff around here. Run it up around the front. And then have a little like so. So that gives us a monorail up around the bottom. And then we can pop in a station. So the station can go into here. We can also have a station that sits over the road. So if I replace the road itself, I can have a little station that sits up over the road. So I'm going to aim to finish the stream today at 5 o'clock in the UK, which is about half an hour from now. So I have set myself an alarm, because otherwise I will just find myself sat playing this game and suddenly I'll be like, oh, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. How did that happen? So I need to be a little bit careful. So that gives us our monorail station this end, right up over the road, which also means that people can come down onto either side. So we can also now run like a path up around the outside and then integrate the two. Although I need to have a entrance to it. Station over road does fit well there. Yeah, I like it. It's a tidy little asset, that one. And then I can also put paths into all the other kind of things we want to access. So let's do another gate into the zoo, a small gate, I think. So we want the smallest gate for the zoo. What's that look like? Zoo side gate. Yeah, let's have the zoo side gate there. Okay, so that's a little bit. Okay, let's have the zoo side gate down there. And then we'll run paths that run all parallel to this. Yeah, the unintended all-nighters building cities. They're very easy to get into. I do a lot of the kind of monotropism stuff, so building life around, you know, flowy streams and attention tunnels. It's kind of like, it's a really nice model for thinking about autistic and kind of ADHD life. But one thing that I find is that, you know, Cities Skylines is like, you know, the flowiest of flowy models. It's flowy like tunnels. So it's very easy to accidentally flow my way till tomorrow and then not get stuff I should have probably got done. So that's one challenge with the game, but it's also part of the delight of it, right? I am going to actually run... Thanks, Young, saying that you'd be happy to watch a longer stream. That's really encouraging. I've not been streaming long. This is only my like 4th stream I think I've attempted, and I'm enjoying them. I'm curious, like, Young, where did you find out about the stream? Like, what brought you to the stream today? Was it did you see a tweet? Did you see a message? Like, I have no idea how people are finding these things. It flows, and now I'm doing it in a stream. Yeah, there's definitely some jokes in there that would get me. I was about to say demonetized, but I'm not monetized at all, so I won't get demonetized. But you know, I need to be a little bit careful with the jokes I make. But oh yes, flowing streams of different descriptions. Yeah, you know, there's ways that they relate to flow states. Path. So that one's a little bit in the way. So I'm just gonna zoink it out the way. Let's have you up there like that, so that you don't obstruct the view from the path. Not quite enough. One thing that I tend to find with Skylines is that after so long, the hand control issues can be a problem. And my flatmate, bless him, for Christmas, he brought me a really, really nice mouse. which helps so much with the hand control stuff. And I can also sit in like my nice comfy kind of adaptive seating stuff, so my like spine stuff doesn't get in the way, and I can be nice and comfortable. Going to bring that back out onto the coast. No, that's going to terraform. Let's not do that. Let's bring that up. Off we go. I'm just going to remove some more of the trees. Oh, I came to you via a YouTube recommendation. That's cool. Wow. I think you might be the first person I've met who's been recommended on YouTube to come and find me. That's really awesome. Woo! Yay! It's good fun. All right, so that's our path coming in around the outside. So I'm gonna I've got that parallel running tool. So let's run the path parallel to the monorail, and then I'll do that up to about there, and then we can work out how we connect this up to a road network so that it's not so that it can act as a monorail station. So if I do that, and then I do that, and then I do that, I can line all of that up like that, and now I've got my path matching up around my little point. And this little lookout point, we can put a nice park in here with some sort of pier or something. Yeah. Isaac saying, oh, if the algorithm's promoting me, I need to start saying things like, like, comment and subscribe. I guess so. That makes me feel weird and nervous. Right, so I've got rid of most of the trees. Well, most of the trees that are on the path. Let's now kind of focus on making this road an actual road, working road. So I think I'm going to run the road into a tunnel. Oh, I might have enough space to run the road under here. Shall we see if we can make like a little kind of, what would you call it? A riverside road sort of thing, where it kind of floats along. So that is, why is that so tall? What's my elevation set to? So that's quite tall, but it thinks it's on the ground when it's not. So well, I think something's broken there. So let's pretend that that's where it comes in. I kind of want it to become like a raised bridgey bit. So we got a nice like coastal thing there. I'm not sure I understand the reference to Paw Patrol there on the phrase "look out." Isaac, can you explain that one? So Isaac in the chat just said that when I said "look out," I'm thinking of a causeway road. That's it. Yeah, like so, and then have that run under here, and then meet up. How do I make it do that? So I might need to go in and just move that bit of ground out the way. So let's move that like so. And then I might need to make the other road a little taller. So I'm going to use that anarchy mode to get it in for now, so that they don't argue with me too much. But that has put it underwater. So let's bring that up. That's cool. I like that. That is very cool. Cool. And then in a minute I'll check all of the heights for things like traffic. But I think traffic will be able to get under there okay. And it's a nice 2-lane road. Let's also put a cycle path on that, because I like mountain biking and cycling and stuff, even with the wibbly wobbly legs. So let's put in some cycle access. And this might actually be, this can be how the buses get into the park as well. So I can do some bus lanes later. Nice. And then use my road alignment tool. That's going to be a little bit too sharp, so we'll trim that road a little bit. Come in up through here. So I've now set it back. This means do whatever the game would have done by default. So I've stopped from forcing it to be a part like a raised causeway, and I'm now letting it go back to whatever the game would do by default. So I'm hoping that that will give us a nice smooth transition up to here. Smoothish. That's a little bit of a corner. So I'll just slide him along a little bit. Oh, that didn't like that. Let's not do that. How am I gonna slide that across? So yeah, this has kind of built its own little platform for itself, which actually doesn't look that bad. I can imagine it having that, but I could imagine it having like a fence around it and like a cycle path and stuff. So I think we'll have some cycle paths along here in a bit. So I'm going to leave that where it is. I'm just going to move it sideways a little bit so that we get a little bit more space for a gentler curve. And then use the align at line, it's the name of the tool, in multi-tool to get a nice round curve like that. And then because I break things when I forget to, I'll then turn off anarchy mode so that I don't break stuff later. Otherwise I'll be really confused. That's cool. So Isaac is just saying that when you ride the bus to Chester Zoo, you can see some of the animals from the top of the bus. That's really cool. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. What would I have on the end of this road? Maybe yeah, a bus station or something. But I can put bus stops onto any road without having to build a station. So I think I'll do that. When high tide will hit, all of the passengers will go down. Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, we need to be careful. Just make sure that we're high enough above sea level that at high tide nobody drowns. Or if there's a tsunami or something. That's a good point. I think I'm going to leave future Jamie to work on that one. Because I'm not quite sure how that mechanic even works in the game. Also, I paused the game, so I'm not making any money on the park, and there's no visitors coming to the park to unlock things. So I will unpause that one, and I will pop the pipes under the road where they belong, channeling good old City Planner Plays, who's one of my favourite YouTubers, such a lovely person to listen to. And I'm going to just pop some... we'll hook these up to the power substation later, so that will come up to the same spot, and we'll have our power substation in this area later. And what we'll do is we'll move the paths now so that they go around where the power substation will be in the future. So let's have a 90. Future Jamie isn't going to like past Jamie. That does happen quite a lot, Chris, that future Jamie is pretty annoyed with past Jamie. Although occasionally future Jamie, especially when I'm writing software or something, I'll go on and I'll do something and I'll go, oh, it's going to take me hours to do that. Oh, it's going to be really tricky because I don't have this or that or, you know, whatever other thing I need. And I find that past Jamie thought of that when he built the thing that he was building. So it already has the thing that I need. So sometimes past Jamie really annoys me and makes terrible choices. Other times past Jamie can be quite helpful. But it really depends on the day and the topic, really. So I'm just deleting this because we're going to have our power station or our power infrastructure there. What I'll do is I'll fence that area off now and then come back to it another time to detail it out. I want to go and look at some power stations and some power distribution stuff and kind of see what it looks like in the real world, and then kind of work out some modelling for it. And yeah, that'll all live in there in time. So that's that all fenced off. So that's kind of that upper reach of the zoo there. How are we doing on the zoo? How's it levelling up? Let's have a look. Zoo. Ooh, I need to give that some electricity. We're 3 visitors. 3. Okay, you're having an advertising campaign and you're becoming our main park. And we're going to have some animal ethics, of course. 3 visitors to a zoo. That's terrible. Like, we'll have to work on that. That's alarming. Hopefully our new monorail connection will help and our new train connection will help. 3! There's all these people over here and almost none of them are coming over here. I'm going to have to stick in the monorail. Maybe a big bridge. In fact, I think a big bridge is exactly how that's going to go because I need to get the people across. Oh, that is sad. 3. Okay, so I got my path up around the outside. I got my monorail wibbly wobbling around. This one needs a bit of electricity, so I'll run one of its cables. We've got about 20 minutes or so until I finish up. So we will run. In fact, we don't need to do that. We can also make things jump with buildings. So I'm going to put in a little bit of building here, and then that will pass on the power for us like that without having to build some power lines. And it feels like a natural fit as well to have some sort of commercial buildings along here. We'll come back later and like super detail them. Monorail tunnel. I don't think you can have monorail tunnels actually. It's one of the things I was thinking before, that it'd be great to have monorails running through tires, through tunnels, but I don't think you can do it in this game. It's really kind of frustrating. And hopefully it's something they'll fix, because there's Cities Skylines 2 coming out before too long. So hopefully that's something that they will kind of elaborate on and build on. I'm also trying to think about how I can build on this. Is there a through route from here? Or is that always going to stop? No, that's always going to be an end stop. There's also got a rubbish problem there, apparently. Whoops. I'll sort out rubbish stuff later. Right. Zoo. Get some water under the roads where it belongs. That's a good point. Now I've got some shops that may up the visitors. That's a good point. I can also place hotels. Let's place some hotels quickly. So to do that, I need to draw a specific type of area. So if I want, say, hotels, hotels here. Yeah, hotels there might be a little loud, but all of this is going to be a little loud. Okay, we'll pop hotels there and we'll kind of see how it goes. And we'll call it like snack bar. Snack bar. What did like Disney call their hotel chains? The snack bar retreat. There you go. If anybody knows like Disney names for their hotels and can give me a few, then we can kind of riff on those. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. Snack bar retreat. Snack bar world retreat. I'm going to call it Snack Bar World now. Snack Bar World Zoo. Snack Bar World Safari. Ooh. World Safari Snack Bar. World Safari Snack Bar. World Safari and Snack Bar. Animal Bar Kingdom. Yeah, that could work. World Safari Snack Bar Kingdom. Snack Bar Retreat. Safari Lodge. Safari Lodge. Let's go with that for now. And then I'll stick some hotels in here. The Lion Bar Bar. I like that. That's funny. Lion Bar Bar. I like that. So because this is a collector, I don't want to have too many things come onto it. So I don't want any of the hotels or anything to actually load onto the collector. I want them to load onto their own little thing. And to make it do that, I use a thing called zoning tool. So I'm going to set this road so that it doesn't have any zoning. And that will stop things like hotels from connecting to it. I'm also going to put in some cycle paths. So if we got one way with cycle paths, do we have a one way with cycle paths? One way road with cycle paths. Perfect. Well, that's a 3-lane one-way road with cycle paths. That's a big one. Do you have anything else with bike paths? Bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle. I want to ride my bike. I want to sing more of this song, but I don't want a copyright strike. I'll just leave that as 3 lanes for now. And then I want to pop a little access road in where I'll have my hotels. And I'll put that up to, but not quite connecting with the one at the top. So there you go. People can now walk between them, but they can't drive between them, so it stops traffic coming down this way. And that's twin ways, so I can then load put the zoning onto there. So I'll put a fence. So the other way to remove zoning is to put a fence along. So I'll find, or a hedge. Well, there's a nice hedge. This is a nice hedge asset. Oh, it's not showing up. Why not? I had this the other day where the hedges didn't show up. Let's try that again. Does a hedge work? No, apparently the hedge is just invisible these days. The hedges are mods, so maybe I broke something. Let's start with a little park fence. I think that'll work nicely along there. So that makes all the zoning squares disappear. Safari snacks. M&S monkeys and monorails. Monkeys and monorails. LTN play. Do you have the protesting drivers? I don't know. I don't know if drivers would protest that, because I don't drive. They don't let me anywhere near roads and cars for derpy reasons. So I don't know if drivers would protest that one. So if I upgrade that, it's now got the zoning on it. And in City Skylines, your largest buildings are going to be 4x4. So if I pop a road through here, then I'll be able to get hotels on either side. And if I take this down here like that, then I've got my large squares there. And I've got a 3x3 there, which isn't the largest I could have, but I guess it will do. And I'll move that up to here so it connects as well. Like that. And then we can zone some hotels in here. So what else do we have in terms of zoning? Let's also fence up this bit. So so we can get as many hotel spaces as we can. Should we have the monkeys driving the monorails? I think we should, honestly. It's apparently if the monorails are mostly automated, then the monkeys are just there for safety, which seems perfectly sensible. I can't see how anybody could object with something like that. So now I need to set this. So this Safari Lodge area, I've set it up, but I haven't told it to only do hotels and tourism stuff. So if I select this mode and then click it on there, I've now got a Safari Lodge, which will have hotels and stuff like that growing. So now I just have to zone it in. So that's commercial large, commercial large, commercial large, commercial large. And before that grows in, I'm just going to reserve that through there for a path, so that we can hook up over here somewhere and pop some trees down or something later. Let's have a nice gravel path through there. And then have it branch off up through there and branch off up through there. Somewhere around here I've got some nice benches. There we go. I'll probably want to pop in some bins as well, just for like litter and stuff. Bum, 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 bum. When I'm thinking lots, I tend to go quiet. So, just imagine the monologue in my head. It's still there. It just isn't coming out because I'm thinking too much for words to come out. Bins is what I want. There's a bin. Wonderful. Let's have a bin. Why is it giving me that? Why is it? I'm apparently in road mode. Okay, I have no idea why I'm in road mode for bins. So, not quite sure what's happening there. That should give me a bin. Is this a bin? Is that a bin? Nope, the game is very confused about the presence of bins. And park bench as well. Okay, I may have even broken something. That's a bit worrying. That's weird. I've got a visual glitch. That's a little bit worrying. So, I haven't actually hit save for ages either. So let's save that as well, so I don't lose the progress we've made. And then if the glitch continues, then I can try and fix it later. Have we had more people to our park now? Let's see. Oh, we've just hit level 2. We have just hit level 2 on the zoo. We've had 500 visitors. Lovely. Oh, that's nice. That's a good relief, because it was going a little bit slow there. I'm also going a little bit slow. You might be able to tell that I'm slowly running out of energy and words and stuff. That'd be me slowly running out of spoons. But let's get all of this hooked up and working before we finish for today. So we'll leave the monorail there for now, and we'll connect the monorail up over here so that people can start coming by monorail. Let's do that as a nice sweeping connection through here. And then oh, it's the power line it's bouncing off of there. So I'll remove the power line. Cool. That's a little bit over the top. I imagine they might get snugged up in the future. I'll kind of tidy that up another time. Yes, good point. Water and power. Water and power. How are we doing? Okay, so water's just about there. And power's still looking good. Thanks for the reminder, Isaac, on the water and power. Yeah, we also need some cops and police. So let's get some services in. I really like the services that come with the Heart of Korea pack. They look really good. So we want to have our services have pretty direct access to stuff. So could they sit inside of the collector? No, because we want them to be able to go both ways around. So I think we'll run them over here. And we'll also have them fairly visible. We'll also have some healthcare because, you know, people get hurt, people have accidents. So we can run a little clinic. And I think the clinic will be owned by like the zoo. It'll be where you go if you fall over in the zoo. So with that in mind, I'll put it on a little road spur that comes off to the side, where it hooks up with a like a zoo path. And in the future, we'll run in a minute. I'll run a fence along here, and then have a gap in the fence that we'll assume has a gate in, so that if you hurt yourself, you can go to the clinic. Let's do all of that now. Da, 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 da. Clinic for all the lion bites. Lion doesn't know what you're talking about. He says what lion bites? No, nobody's getting bitten around here. Definitely not by the lions. It must be they've got that new insect centre. We've just had the insect centre unlocked. So Lion is claiming that any bites that happen in the park are clearly insect bites. Definitely insect bites, and you know, nothing to do with him nibbling on anyone. He wouldn't dream of such things. Oh, the path that I had earlier has disappeared. So I need to put that path back in. Path. I need to do that one. No, that one. Like that. And then the path disappears again. So this icon up here, this big angry bird, he is the that tells you you're in anarchy mode. He goes all like nuclear rock star. Oh, it disappeared again. Okay, I'm not sure how I get the fence in without that path disappearing. I'm not sure how that works. It's one of those. If I turn off collision, there you go. I turned off collision that time, so it didn't get upset that they overlapped each other. Cool. So we got a little bit of perimeter there. We have our monorail coming in nicely, though not, and it's all hooked up. Although we haven't hooked it up to a station, so let's hook it up to a station before we finish up for this stream. Let's see, station here. Ooh, accidentally removed a stop. So we will create a new line. It will run to here, and then it will run to here, and it will run back to here, and then it will run back to here. So we now have a new monorail line as well. We have some police. The police will be able. Oh, we haven't connected this station up to any actual road yet. So let's have a. I'll just do a 90-degree tie into this road for now, and then we can pick up the rest from there. So many windows. Trying to remember what does what. There we go. That will do for now. And it doesn't interrupt into this space too much. It gives us a connection, which means the police can get to it and rubbish can get collected and things like that. And we're very much coming to the end of the stream in a moment. So we have working monorail stations. Let's see if we have any monorails popping. We do. Here is our monorail whizzing back and forth. How many people were on that one? That had lots of things on it. What have we got there? If I zoom out, there you go. It has 6 passengers. Okay, not lots, but you know, it's a new line. So it's whizzing back and forth. We have our mainline station connection, and we have our traffic connection. We have parking, and we have the starts of our zoo area. The most important attraction, of course, being the antelopes and the interesting cafe next door. Young Billy, I think you're lucky. For me, it's snowing in your city right now after 34 years. That's amazing. Where are you based, young Billy? Because that's really cool. That you're in a place that's snowing for the first time in 34 years. I'm only 33 years old, so it's the first time it's snowed in your city since I've been born. That's amazing. It kind of make me want to run around and go outside and jump around in the snow until somebody tells me off. Or at least tells me to put more clothes on and be less cold. But I don't know. I always get cold when I go running out. Well, I don't get cold when I go running around outside in the snow, which is why I don't put things on, because I'm not cold and then I get ill. So I think the last thing I'm going to do for this stream is I'm going to place the amphibian house. And the amphibian house looks really posh. So I think it's going to be like a centerpiece. That's this thing I want people to see things from that road as they come around as well. So let's have a park gate over this side, and then we will pop the amphibian house on it as the centerpiece. I think that'd be a nice way to finish up the stream for the day. Turn off hierarchy mode, and then fix some alignment issues here, and then union those two together. Just over here. So the union tool, it enables you to take 2 nodes and then combine them together, like 2 nodes, like that one and that one. Okay, that's not working. I'll just delete the road and redraw it. Super. Have a little bit of a wobble there, so I will just line that up. There you go. That's nice and smooth. And then I think I'll have that the insect house right along there, so you see it from the road and it intrigues you. Or if you're scared of insects, makes you run away and never come back. So I should probably also put some like cute fluffy animals along there as well. It's a nice grand entrance. And then because that's nice and grand, I think that deserves having like the big plaza in front of it. That'd be a nice combo. Plaza. And then we can then run our path network around the plaza, which will start giving us our next steps to expand. Let's check it's got water. It does. Right under the paths where they belong. Not quite what the city planner says, but close enough. And there we go for this stream today. I think that is everything. So thank you everybody who has been here to watch this. You're from India, Billy. That's amazing. Wow, that is a long way away from Romford, which is where I'm based. That's amazing. So yeah, I'm going to just swap to OBS and finish up. So thanks everyone for joining. For folks who haven't come across Lion and myself before, I'm Jamie. The big fluffy fella is Lion. I'm autistic, neurodivergent. If you enjoy listening to me witter on, then I host a podcast for the BBC called 1800 Seconds on Autism, which can be found wherever you get your podcast from, which is a phrase I've said many times. You can find out more about us at jamieandlion.com. And you can also find us on Twitter at Space Dark Smiles and at Jamie Knight. So yeah, it's a really nice chill stream. Thank you for everyone for joining us, new people and people who found us via the YouTube algorithm. That's really cool. And I look forward to chatting to everyone in the future. So I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful evening or day. Yeah, thanks for being here. So with all that, all the whoosh, and I'll catch you in the future. Have a great one.